I'm Kevin, and this is Brittany, and this is our wedding story. Brittany asked me out first. She was very aggressive in a certain kind of way, and but it was a nice kind of way. We do everything together, and we have for a long time. We love, going camping, in Pennsylvania. I mean, I don't know that there's anything that we both don't enjoy together. We had only been dating for probably 3 or 4 months. I was like, this is the one right here, and I don't want to let her go. I want to see what happens. And so I gave her a ring. I guess more of a promise ring, I guess, at the time, looking back. But I didn't want to let her go.
January 8th of 2002. We started seeing each other, and we've never been apart since. We have an amazing ability to communicate, to work through issues and stuff like that, and he actually proposed to me about 3 months after we started dating. He is always caring, he's concerned, he tries to keep me on a schedule because I'm not very good at doing that myself. And he's just always been there and been understanding and willing to listen and tries to help, and he provides whatever he can provide to make sure that I have what I need to do what I need to do. He was riding with his friend in a car, and he was in the passenger side, and he advised me that he was going to be coming over. There
Where her house was on the corner. We were doing a circle, and I was just out the window, will you marry me?
He's got the perfectly sized ring in the box as that, he's pulling around the corner out the window. And that was the official proposal. He is a great person to be around. He's able to bring back those childhood behaviors out of me. We're very into movies. We have like 450 of them. So sometimes a lot of our conversations are just, the conversation is strictly quoting movies back and forth to each other. So that, and especially with our son, he's a great father, and he really knows how to play with him. And so I myself will get my camera out and I'll just start videoing, what he's doing with him. He loves me unconditionally. He does everything he can to support me in what I feel is right to do and what I want to do and what I feel we should do as a family. And that's part of the reason we're getting married in the Catholic Church, is because we both have agreed now that it's the right thing to do for what we both believe. And that's really important to us, is integrity.
Her parents moved down here, and we were looking at buying our first house up in Cleveland, and said, you know what, let's have a kid.
My parents decided that they were going to move to Florida, so we ended up purchasing our first house, and about 2 weeks afterwards, we found out that we were pregnant. So we went through all that, and our son was born way too early. He was born at 5.5 months. So he weighed about 1 pound 11 ounces, and was in the NICU at Hillcrest Hospital for about 4 months. He was born with meningitis, he had listeria, 2 cases of pneumonia while he was in there. So every day was a constant battle. And it was really hard for both of us. I was at the hospital every single day. My job at the time forced me to take maternity leave then, even though he wasn't home with us. So I was at the hospital every day doing what I could to support our son. I'd leave the hospital, come home. He would come home from work. I'd make dinner, take the dog out, do everything I had to do at home. And then I was up bright and early the next day going back to the hospital. So that was a really troubling time.
I mean, we prayed sitting there when he was coming out, and there was a few parts there, man, where we didn't know.
4 months later, we were able to bring him home. He was about 5 pounds when we brought him home. I still had to work. I had to use all my vacations so I could spend that time with my son when we brought him home, so I can get acclimated with having him there. Got everything acclimated. Everything started working out great. Kevin had a great job, and actually a couple months after that, he got accepted for a job to run a building downtown, run the security for the building. And then a week later, he had a seizure while we were sleeping. And that was the most terrifying point that I've ever experienced.
So if she wouldn't have woke up, I might not have either.
When the ambulance people got there, they asked him who I was, and his first answer was I was a cheeseburger. So that was a little frightening. And then they asked him again who I was, and I was his aunt. So I got really scared. I was like, he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't remember anything. And then they took him to the hospital, and they found out that he had a brain tumor. So over the next month, they did a whole bunch of tests, and they found out that they had to do brain surgery. So at that time, he had just gotten that job, and it was a really good thing for him. And they told him, after he told them what was going on, that they were going to save his job for him. And so he was really relieved, and, he's like, okay, let's go ahead and do this surgery thing. We'll get it taken care of. So a month later, his mom came in from Tennessee, his uncle came in from Youngstown, and were helping me with our son, who was still pretty much a newborn. So he went in, and he had the surgery, and he's in there for probably a good 6 to 8 hours. And I had no idea what was going to happen. It was the scariest time of my life, just knowing that there was the potential, which there always is, that that person's not going to make it through. And so it was just really hard for me because my brain, the way it works, I'm always thinking worst case scenarios, which we both do, that I was going to be a single mom taking care of my son, and my husband wasn't going to be around to see him grow up. So, really hard. So, he gets out of the hospital, and he's doing really well. He started walking on his own, and I had to do a lot of things for him. The seizure thing wasn't going to be happening again. And he goes and talks to his boss, and his boss says, well, we're sorry, the job's not here anymore. I found an opportunity to come to Florida with my company. I would get a huge increase in my pay and everything. So we moved 1,200 miles to Florida for this job. And the idea was that there was going to be more opportunity here for him. Cleveland was pretty closed down job-wise at the time. There really wasn't a whole lot there.
And then, we were up there for another year or two. And then she said, well, there's this job down here for Progressive. And I thought about it, leaving everything I know back in Cleveland, my family, everything. And, talked to a few people and said, well, I'll never know unless I give it a shot. I mean, it's better at least to come down here and fail than not to give it a shot. So I did. And here we are. I've been essentially a stay-at-home dad for the last year. And it's been rough. We hit a lot of bumpy patches since we've been down here. And they're not saying we're going to stay, but we're making the best of what we have. And we, like I said, we wake up every day next to each other, so it's a good start to the day.
We decided that the best thing for our family would be to kind of root ourselves more in our faith. And so we started going to church. As soon as we got here, we started going to church every weekend. On every Sunday or Saturday, we like the vigil. So we go on Saturdays, and we started talking about getting married in the church because we never had gotten married in the church. And that's really important to us. For a long time, we've not been married in the church, and we've really been struggling. And not necessarily a hope, but if it comes with it, that's great. But we're really hoping that by being able to get married in the church, that it'll open up the grace, and it'll allow God to bless our marriage because that marriage is founded in our faith and in our church.